Since this is the very first episode of Eric in America, I wanted to come out with something that you won't hear anywhere else. This is an important thing. You won't hear it from the Democrats and you won't hear it from the Republicans, but it's the truth nonetheless. Now, this is about the state of affairs with the American economy. Okay, you've got Democrats shouting doom and gloom. Okay, and they're citing the recent increase in spending. You know, with the number one expenditure by their records being, of course, the war. They're saying this war is taking us so far in debt that we won't be able to handle it, and things of that nature. Now, that's not exactly true. Okay, they're taking the facts and they're manipulating them to invoke a scare. Okay, now on the other hand of the aisle, you've got the Republicans who don't acknowledge the issue at all. Okay, so I'm really kind of ruffling feathers when I say that we have a slight spending problem, but spending is not our major issue. Our major issue is our GDP. And I know what you're thinking. Our GDP is at an all-time high. You know, and let me tell you, our spending is also relatively at an all-time low, because our debt right now, our national debt, is about 33% of our gross domestic product, which is not bad at all. And you know, as far as debt-to-income ratios, if you've got 30% of every dollar going out, then that means you've got 70% of every dollar staying in. That's a pretty good formula. You know, those are pretty good ratios. But here's the problem. At the end of the Vietnam War, which a lot of people like to try to compare this war to, we were, at the end of Vietnam War, we were 101% of our gross domestic product. That was our national debt. You know, it was just ridiculous. You know, we were, for all intents and purposes, we were in bankrupt. You know, we were in bankruptcy. We had no way to get out of it. You know, so that was peril. You know, that was a spending issue there. But the problem here is that the difference between Vietnam and now is where our gross domestic product is being distributed. Okay, the way it's set up is to be trickle-down economics, which means that the money is made at the top and it trickles down to every tier of society. But we don't have that happening anymore. Okay, we've gone from a trickle-down economics philosophy to a trickle-out economics philosophy. Now I'll explain how that happens. You've got two major factors at play. You've got illegal immigration on one hand, and then you've got outsourcing on the other. Okay, both of these issues are good for big business. Okay, and this is how they're good for big business. When you have illegal immigrants working, they don't pay taxes. Okay, which means the employer doesn't pay taxes on them. They don't, they don't need as high wages. You know, they require less in wages. They work for cheaper. Basically, it's cheap labor. So you have cheaper overhead for the business, which means you have larger profit margins. So the principal makes more money, you know, the owner of the business. Now, outsourcing works the exact same way. Okay, outsourcing, however, is completely outsourced. You know, mostly it's companies like Fisher Price or Walmart having their products made in China and then having them shipped back to the U.S. Or you've got companies like Disney and Bank of America who are contracting customer service and artwork to countries like India. You know, it's real frustrating every time I call, you know, Bank of America, and I have to almost have a handheld translator in order to get my my point across, and then understand what, you know, the guy on the other side of the telephone is trying to tell me. It's you know, but that's really what's threatening our economy, and let me tell you why. Because when it used to be that American business started at the top, and when that company made money, it benefited not only the owner of the company, but it benefited the worker of the company, who was an American citizen, and it benefited the consumers of the company, who were also American citizens. But now what you've got is you've got American principals, American owners still, but the workers are foreign. And the Mexican immigrants, they're sending all of their, or the majority of their money out of the country. The number one source of income or national revenue in Mexico is money sent from the United States. Okay, so you've got the illegal immigrants shipping all their money out, not spending it here. Okay, and then you've got the outsourcing, which completely bypasses the economic system here in America. So money is being milked out of the system and it doesn't come back into the country. Okay, so you're benefiting only the principal, and you're benefiting the middle worker, but the middle worker isn't in this country anymore. And then you're benefiting the consumer because you have lower prices. Okay, and that's the benefit to Americans. But the question is it really a benefit? Because instead of having products that are made in the U.S., products that are to a certain quality standard, we've got goods that are made in China to lesser safety standards. We've got kids dying in cribs and getting lead poisoning. So there's very, very serious consequences there. So it doesn't even benefit the consumer in the end anymore. The only benefit now is the principal. Some of the people on the same side of the aisle as me might say that some of the things that I'm saying are anti-capitalist or anti-American or something of that nature. But I'm telling you, this isn't an issue of capitalist, anti-capitalist. It's not a question of, are you for business or socialism? But this is a question of business ethics. There has to be a morality. There has to be a moral code in everything you do, and you can't strip mine America. If you do, then you're really you're selling your own foundation out from under you. It's a horrible thing to see. American America.